Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, I would like to welcome all of you to this summit's second session. Myself, Tarun Singh, and I'll be taking you forward through this session of ours. And I can already see we have around like people are really joining in right now, and we hope many people join in together. So without wasting much time, I'll just start the session. So what about me? I am an Alexa student influencer, and I've been working with these voice technologies from past 3 years or so. And since last year I got selected for this program, ASI. I've been working with many people in this domain, and apart from that, I've also done a few projects, and with even startups. So I think I have a good exposure, and I think that makes me eligible to take this session with you forward. I hope this session is of great learning for you, and you'll something definitely have some fruitful in your hands by the end of the session. So I think it's time to start off. And just because I think I am something short on bandwidth, so what I'll do, I'll just turn off my camera and I'll start presenting my screen, and I'll continue just like that with my camera turned off, because I don't think that's pretty necessary for me to have the camera on. So I think my screen is visible to all of you. Let's see. Yeah, it is. All right. So I'm just turning my camera off. Okay. All right. So we are here, and today what we'll be doing is we'll be discussing about Alexa, and we'll be knowing more what Alexa is. We'll be creating a skill. We'll be also discussing about how you can publish a skill, what are steps, and important things are there when you publish a skill. Everything related to Alexa will be told to you in this session. A quick look at the agenda for today is, first of all, we'll be start to discuss about the evolving technologies. Then we'll discuss why we should build for Alexa. What are some of the Alexa terminologies? Then we'll also discuss how Alexa works, this whole process of the conversation that takes place. And then later on, we'll of course develop a skill of yours, and I think that will be one of the interesting parts of this session. Next, we'll also discuss tips, as I also said, tips for publishing a skill, and then later on we'll see what are the learning resources, what we can have to learn more about Alexa. So, moving forward, let us have a look at how the technologies have evolved. So, from 1970s, that was the decade that marked the birth of modern computing. We got our first general microprocessor, and C language was written in that decade. Then came the 1980s. We saw the emergence of graphical user interfaces, or GUIs. Then in the 90s, the world got its internet connection, I would say. And from that point onwards, I think humanity has witnessed exponential growth in almost every field. Now, from 2000s, what we see is mobile phones, and they have emerged quite a lot. From keypad phones to touch screens, and now even touch screen flip phones, we have come a long way ahead, and that has happened in just a span of 10 to 15 years. And from past 3 4 years or so, this technology is growing even faster, and what we call it as is VUI, or voice user interface. And the pioneers of this technology, as you already know, are Alexa by Amazon, Assistant by Google, Bixby by Samsung, and Cortana by Microsoft. So they all are there in this field, which we call as VUI, or voice user interface. So these people are doing great. And yes, as we saw that every decade some new disruption happens, we say that voice technology is actually the next major disruption in computing. And you can be very familiar with this statement of mine. It's not that I am saying this, or it's not that people at Amazon are saying this. It's the world speaking. The tech giants are saying, Google says this, and Microsoft and all are saying this. Why are they saying this? You can just have a look at the kind of improvements they have done onto this Alexa only. For example, Amazon is working so hard on an Alexa from the past 4 years, that when it got launched and when it is where it is now, it's a drastic change that you can see on Alexa. Okay, so just to make things clear in the beginning, many people have this misconception as to what skill is, we'll of course be having a good discussion on what apps and or what Alexa skills are. But just to demarcate in the beginning itself, for example, we have apps for mobiles, we have skills for Alexa. So this has to be, this has to be understood for you in the beginning itself. Now, there can be people who are joining in here with quite a lot of experience with Alexa or with voice, or you may have just begin. And a lot of us are here who even haven't worked with Alexa and are curious to learn about voice and Alexa, and that's why they're here. So let me tell you a bit as to why you should build Alexa or work with Alexa. Now just have a look at this scenario. These are stats of USA, and it shows what is the adoption rate of different technologies or how easily people got comfortable with these technologies. Here we see, for example, we have the example of a computer. So it took 20 years for around 27% of the US population to get adopted to it. Similarly, for the internet, it took around 20 years for 40% of US population to get comfortable with the internet. And again, it took around 15 years for the radio for 50% of US population. For TV, it took quite less, around 11-12 years. For smartphones, it was even lesser, it was 5 to 7 years. And just have a look at here, guys. The smart speaker, which is the Alexa and the Google Assistant, the adoption rate for 50% of US population is just 4 years. So it has like penetrated the US population like anything. Like it's the best technology we have ever had. So these are a few reasons that you should build for Alexa. And as I already said, that this decade is dedicated to voice and will be the disruption of the decade. So this is high time to start learning about voice and start learning with Alexa. All right, another example you can see over here is that people are developing and working for Alexa. As I already told you, Alexa skills are there on the skills store. So US is like pioneering in that. Like we have 70,000 around skills from US only. That's the stats from January. And for UK, India is not far behind. We have voice developers working very hard, and we are creating more and more skills. So these are like old stats. The new stats would be even higher. Alexa is actually growing fast. Yes, Alexa is growing fast. We are supported in 42 different countries. We are there with 150 plus Alexa built-in products. There are 28,000 plus products that work with Alexa. And this stat over here, which shows that there are 150,000 plus Alexa skills. It's actually that of, it's pretty old figure. I think currently there are more than 2 lakh skills on the skill store. And that's possible just because of developers like you, me, and who are actually enthusiastic and keen to learn and curious to learn about Alexa. It's just happening just because of we hundreds and thousands of Alexa developers. So I'm getting a message that my screen is blurred. Okay. Okay. Actually, I'm streaming in full HD quality over here. What can be the issue? Uh, all right. Maybe something is not working pretty correct on their side. Maybe it's YouTube's algorithm. Okay, it's quite blurry, right? Okay. All right. So it's fine if you are not able to have a look what's there on the screen or understand that. I am speaking most of the things out. So just listen to my voice, and I think this problem will go away in a while. Till then, just listen to whatever I'm speaking, and it will be pretty helpful for you. All right, I'll just move ahead. So I was talking about Alexa skills, and we have different skills. We have skills which are related to news. We have skills which are infotainment purposes, like TED, Akashvani, Savan, Ghana. We have Alexa skills related to consultancy services. We have even for jokes and fun. We have educational and learning skills, and we have utility skills, of course, like Uber and Ola. We even have skills which are dedicated to food chain services, and we have skills which kids love, of course, and we have skills like these, the devotional sector, and of course, at the end, we have skills which are there for the kids. So this was just an example of how many skills, kind of different categories are there for skills. Uh, not forget to mention that Alexa is also in Hindi, and you can always ask Alexa how it works in Hindi. Now, this was all about something that was in pretty layman terms, right? If someone asks you, you can explain it to a layman that this is all Alexa, we have skills and all. But we as developers, we need to know the technical details. And so if technically, if example, a technically sound person asks you what is Alexa, now this is what you can answer them. There are two sides of Alexa, right? The first side is Alexa voice service. All you need is a Wi-Fi and a microphone, and any device can become Alexa enabled. Now, this gives birth to the concept of IoT devices using Alexa. There are many third-party devices now which are using Alexa, and it's there in built in. It's not just limited to Echo devices. Alexa has even reached inside your cars. Like Lexus recently launched one of their vehicles with Alexa built in. Have a look at this video.
For 2019, Lexus and Amazon are reimagining how car and driver can interact. With Alexa-enabled vehicles, Lexus owners will now have voice control over new car-to-home commands.
Alexa, set the downstairs thermostat at 72.
The thermostat has been set.
An integration with Amazon Alexa and thousands of other compatible products and services.
Alexa, reorder sparkling water.
Your sparkling water has been ordered.
And new home-to-car functions open up a new world of convenience for Lexus drivers.
Alexa, ask Lexus to remote start my car.
Your request for remote start has been sent.
Lexus is proud to be among the first luxury automakers to feature Amazon Alexa integration. Because when it comes to automotive innovation, the cutting edge can always be found in a Lexus.
That was it. Pretty interesting, right? So the other part which we need to talk about is the Alexa Skills Kit. Now, once the Alexa service in the cloud becomes available through all these devices which we talked about, what is the content that the users have access to? The users have access to the skills. Now, they are basically capabilities that we as developers give to Alexa, and it enables it to do different things. Now, let's talk about some of the terminologies that we'll be using. So how do you open a skill? Okay, there is an Echo device, and you want that a particular skill has to be opened, and it should work like anything. So in order to do that, what you do is you need to first wake up the device, and to wake the device, we use the wake word, which is Alexa. So once you open the device, you can start a skill with the launch word like start, ask, tell, play, and then you speak the invocation name. Now, the invocation name is a name that you decide to give it to your skill, which the users will need to say in order to open that specific skill, right? The invocation name has to be a minimum of 2 words, and you cannot use any reserved keywords like Alexa, Amazon, and a few more are there. Keep in mind that these names are not unique. Many skills can share the same invocation name, and then it will be up to the user as to which skill they want to invoke. Restaurant Finder is an invocation name, and for breakfast, like this for breakfast, is an utterance. If you are not able to see on the screen, I think I'm getting complete on the like it's getting blurred, so I'll read it out. It says, Alexa, ask Restaurant Finder for breakfast. So breaking it up, Alexa is the wake word, ask is the launch word, Restaurant Finder is the invocation name, and for breakfast is the utterance. So that's the that's the split up of the whole sentence. So I said for breakfast is an utterance. An utterance is basically what the user will say either when they open a skill or when the skill asks them to speak what they want to do. Now, these utterances, they'll actually map to intents. There are various ways of saying the same thing, but all those ways mean the same intent. And that is the foundation of building for Alexa. Over here, you see, in the same intent, we are catching different phrases which have actually the same meaning. A good breakfast place, where to eat breakfast, or to find place to eat in the morning, right? All these sentences actually mean the same, so they are mapping to the same intent. And that name of that intent over here at the bottom, it's we have given it the name as recommendation intent, like it's recommending restaurants. So that's the crux of Alexa. Like it's nothing beyond this. It's everything within this, and everything has to be done via these intents only. So what you need to do is you do not need to worry about specific sentences what the user speaks. Rather, you need to think about those intentions, and that will decide as to what intents will your skill support. Now, as here we are recommending in like restaurants, there is an intent which recommends restaurants. You can have an intent that gives quotes of the day. You can have an intent that returns sounds of animals, and like many more. So here is a recommendation intent which is being triggered by many sentences, as I already told you. Now let's draw an analogy. And for example, this blue rectangle which you see represents one of the skills which we have. Um, just a second, guys. I'm again getting complaints of the blurred screen. Is the screen still blurry? Yes, I can see the screen is blurry. What is it doing? Like it's adjusting itself or what? If I stay on a single slide for a long time, then it like gets clearer. Mm, what can be done? Just a second, guys. I'll just cross check with the team. And for that moment, I'm just muting myself just for a moment. So what I've asked one of our moderators like to share the PPT separately, and they'll be sharing this PPT with you all if it's not visible. Um, I hope it works now. And I have already shared my screen. Is it visible right now or not? I want Sumant to be there at slide number 21. I was continuing from slide number 21. All right, no problems. You can have a look at the slides also. Um, so now we had a look at what the intents and utterances are. Just to make things more clear, for example, we have this blue rectangle. All right, this blue rectangle shows the whole Alexa skill, and within that we have different intents. For example, the recommendation intent, show recipe intent, or the daily diet intent, right? And within those intents, what we have are different utterances. All right, so this I think makes things pretty easy, and that's not too difficult to understand, right? Now let's move forward to the next slide. Yes, now it's not always that you can have like these static sentences, right? But these static sentences, they won't suffice the needs of the user even. Now at times, or rather most of the times, the user needs to provide dynamic information to Alexa. For example, Alexa, give a place to eat within 4 miles. Now, this 4 miles, what I'm saying is I'm being specific to Alexa that I just want 4 miles and nothing more than that. Or it has to be 4. Like 4 can be a variable. Now, that 4, in terms of VUI, what we call it is a slot. A slot is Alexa VUI equivalent of a variable. And a variable has a name and a value. Similarly, slots also have it too. A user can provide more than one slot in an utterance. Next slide, please. And we being developers, we need to handle all these different slots, right? For example, over here we're saying ask a restaurant finder to tell me about some Italian food within 4 miles. So Italian food again is a slot, and 4 is again a slot. Now these 4, there are 2 different slots. The first slot's name is distance, is cuisine, and the value it's taking is Italian food. Similarly, for the second slot, the name which it is taken is distance, and the value it is taking is 4. So this is quite same to that what we use in programming, which we call variables. For example, we have x and y variable. X takes Italian food and y takes 4. So it's pretty simple. So what it does, it makes our skill more dynamic and user friendly, and it enriches the user experience even. So apart from the intents that you create, there are intents that are built in, and these are mandatory to be there in your skill for it to pass the skill certification process. And what's the skill certification process? Uh, the skill certification process is basically you need to provide, or you need to be there on be valid on certain parameters which are provided by Alexa itself, and you need to pass all those tests. So one of the part of these tests is these built-in intents. They have to be there in your presentation. And for example, we have Amazon.cancel intent. It has to be there. Amazon.help intent, it has to be there, and a lot of others, right? So when we create a skill using a boilerplate template, so these built-in intents are already there, so need not to worry about them. Next slide. Now let's have a look how Alexa works. And like till now we got quite familiar with the Alexa terminologies. We'll now see how it works, or what's the overall process. Next slide. Just before starting, I would like to make clear that an Alexa skill has 2 parts. Similarly to that, what we do in development, we have a front end and a back end. Similarly, Alexa also has the same. It has a front end, which we call as the interaction model, where you will be designing all the VUI and you'll be writing all those intents, right? You'll be developing and working on those intents, utterances, and slots. And there is a backend, or the programming logic, that needs to be coded separately as to how you will be handling those intents, as to how Alexa will prompt back to you and what will be the response. So that's all done at the backend. So you can have a clear demarcation of both of these things. And also, earlier times, like if you were developing some skills, what we used to do is we need to go to separate place, which we call as AWS Lambda, and we need to code it over there. But right now, it doesn't happen that way. What Amazon has done on the developer console, which is which is at developer.amazon.com, They have already provided you with the code tab, and now you can do both of these things on the single console itself. Now you do not have to go to a separate place to write your code or your backend. You can do that then and there. Next slide. Now here is quite an overview what happens when you go through this whole process. When you ask Alexa that, hey Alexa, do this and do that. So let's see how it actually works. What's the overall process? So whenever you say, hey Alexa, there has to be a chip within that device that recognizes that someone had said Alexa, and I need to wake up and send that information, whatever the user is saying, to the Alexa service which is running in the cloud. Now that information gets converted to text via automatic speech recognition, or we call it ASR. As like like anything spoken to a computer is noise and nothing else. It has to be converted to text. Now from that text, Alexa service has to understand what does the user want to do. That means it has to uh, get the context out of what the text is, the meaning of the sentence. Like in our case, we need to find a restaurant. If we continue with the previous example, this is done through natural language understanding. That understanding the context, this is done through natural language understanding, and this is happening uh, altogether like in a single second or within 2-3 seconds, not more than that, not within fraction of seconds. Now all of this request is created, and this whole request packet you see over here, uh, it is sent to your service. Now what is your service? It's basically the backend. So this whole request packet, which has all the intents, values, slot values, it is sent to your backend, and your backend then makes some processing, and then it generates a response. Now that response is again sent back to the Alexa service in the cloud, and that response can be text, it can be audio, and even it can be visuals, which we can do using Alexa presentation language. Now, when it reaches back to the service, it needs to be converted back to speech, and that is done through text to speech. It's pretty simple, not that difficult. And what it does is it just prompts you back whatever the response is. An important part which I think was left. Can you please just move on the slides, 3-4 slides ahead? What I just what we just saw, that the request and the response, which it is like having the communication with your backend, it happens through JSON only, right? So it's just JSON going to your backend. Which is encapturing your whole request packet. It sends it to your backend, and then it gives the response back, and that's also in the form of JSON. So at both these ends, what you're doing is just parsing JSON. Now, if you don't know what JSON is, I'll just explain that to you. Can you please move the slides 3-4 slides ahead, where we have JSON? Yeah, that's it. So JSON is kind of a language. You can say it's a language through which the different component of softwares, they exchange information with each other. It's more or less key value pairs of information, right? So you need to understand this thing. It's not very difficult. And most of the languages, like rather all of the languages which are there, programming languages, Python, Node.js, JavaScript, all of them have this capability to work with JSON. Next slide, please. Now let's come to the backend part. And how is that done? What Alexa has done, they have already written 2 SDKs, and that's written in Node.js and Python. And what are SDKs firstly? So if someone doesn't understand what SDK is, it's simply like a collection of package which are already there. They have collected all libraries and created it for you. They have created different functions, so you do not need to bother about different things, small things. You just need to call those functions and libraries and get your work done. So that's basically an SDK. For Alexa, we have a very good SDK written in Node.js and also in Python. And today we'll be creating a skill, and we'll be working on the Node.js SDK. And that SDK basically has all the information. And if you want to learn more about that SDK, there is this whole documentation about on Alexa, on the official documentation of Alexa. Everything is there, so you need not to worry about that. Someone may argue like most of the people do not know Node.js, so that's not an issue. I'll explain it more. And if you are comfortable with Python, it's also easy to do it with Python. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. But I would rather say most of the tutorials that you will find over the internet, or most of the articles that are written on Alexa, they are actually done or written in Node.js or JavaScript. So if you have a bit of knowledge about JavaScript, that's fine, and not very in-depth knowledge is required for Node. If you're not having some knowledge on what JavaScript is, it's pretty simple. You must be knowing some of the other programming languages, and it's same as the other languages. You can learn it like within 2-3 days. They're just the basics, right? And then you can carry forward with Node.js. So Node.js is like it's basically JavaScript only, right? I'm not going to much depth, because I think like there may be people who aren't much aware with these terminologies like Node.js and all that. Okay, fine. Next slide. So as I said in the beginning, what we were doing is we were in the interaction model, what I was discussing, what we did is we just created intents. We designed those intents, and whatever the user was saying, that was being caught into intents. And at the backend also, what we do is we just handle these intents only. Like, it's not very difficult, or we need not to think about anything else. We just need to think how we handle these intents. Next slide. Um, let's also have a look at the structure of these intents handlers. Now, as I said, we'll be handling intents at the backend. So, for example, this is a sample code from Node.js SDK. What you will be just be doing it at the backend. It says we can have an intent named as intent handler. We name it this way. It's the intent handler. Now, about within that intent handler, we have two functions. You can see the first function is highlighted in orange. The second one function is highlighted in green. Now, the first function takes in the argument handler input, and the same handler input comes in as an argument to the second function also. Now, what's there in this handler input? This handler input has attached to itself that request, the whole request packet, which we call as the request envelope. All of the requests which are being sent from the front end or the interaction model are attached to this handler input. Now, when it comes to our intent handler, this first reaches the can handle function. Now, there is some processing done in this can handle function, and if this function is able to handle this request, or it's able to handle this particular intent, it simply returns a true value and a false value, a boolean value. So it will return true if it is able to handle the request, and if not, the request will move forward to the other intent handlers. Now, if it returns true, that means this particular intent handler can handle it. The control flow reaches to the next function, which is the handle function. Now, handle function again takes the same argument, handler input, and it is here inside this particular handle function where you will be handling the code, and we'll be writing everything, which is basically the logic of our intent, or how we'll be handling the intent. We'll be writing all of the code within this, and from here only we'll be returning response also to the Alexa service. Next slide, please. So we saw a similar analogy to Node.js. We have similarly an SDK written in Python, and in Python, what we have classes. You must have worked with classes in Python. So in the previous slide, we had that intent handler was basically was containing two functions. Similarly, this class intent handler in Python has two methods, which are can handle and handle, and it's the same thing with that it was happening before. It's happening similarly in the Python SDK also, just the syntax is that of Python. Next slide. Before we move on and we start building our first skill, what I would like you all to have is Alexa on your mobile phones. So many of you must be knowing about it. Alexa has its own app that's available on both iOS and app on Play Store. You can obviously go there and ask and type in Alexa, and I think the first link that show up, it'll be that of the Alexa app. What's the use of it? Apart from providing the full functionalities of Alexa, it actually helps you to test your skills while you are developing them. So for this, you need to log in with same email IDs on your phone and on the Alexa console also. If you're logged in on both of them, whatever you're developing on the console, that will get synced on your mobile phone automatically, and you can test your Alexa skill while you're developing it there on your mobile phone as well, if you're not having an echo device to test it. All right, let's move forward. Next slide, please. Here are some screenshots of the Alexa skill, which Alexa app, which can have, and it already has most of the functionalities which Alexa has. And of course, if you're having an Echo device, you must already be having this Alexa app on your mobile phones, because this app is necessary for you to configure your Echo Dot or any Echo device that you have. Next slide. I was not even thinking of having this thing. Like, I never thought I would be having this blur kind of problem from my side. Otherwise, things would be going too smooth. I don't think like if you're not liking it, or if it's some problem which you're having, I'm really sorry on my part. But I think screen must be visible to you right now. So before just moving on to the developing a skill, what is advised always is that you first design your skill and you design the VUI, right? And how you can do that? You can do that using dialog sheets or using flowcharts, right? And what are dialog sheets? For example, over here on the screen towards the right, you can see this sheet. So these are basically, utterances, what the user can speak, and what's the situation, and what the response will Alexa give. So you already have that thing in with you on a paper, and then you start on designing the interaction model. And after that, you go to the backend. So this is the first part that you shall do. um, that's always advised. You can even use flowcharts, but when you use flowcharts and if your skill gets a bit complex, these flowcharts get very much complex. So if you're using flowcharts for small skills, that's fine. But if you're having a large skill, it's advised that you use some dialog sheets and prepare what you'll be doing. Design the VUI just beforehand, a rough copy of that. Next slide, please. Can you play the video? So what we are doing over here, I'll just show you a video, what we'll be making, what skill we'll be making. So here you see, can you play the video? It just got paused. So I write in start just for fun. For example, just for fun is the invocation name. And when I do that, uh, I think you're not sharing your audio. That's not a problem, I think. Okay, fine. So there is some audio comes, and then it says, hello, we can welcome to just for fun. We can have a personality. I'm just not able to read it out. Where is it? Yeah, so it says that it can judge your personality basis of some input that you're giving in. So it asks, I start with I like red color, and it says some response, and then you just have a look at what conversation is happening. So there are audio responses as well. If you're not able to hear audio, I have put those audio even there. So you see, what it does is it gives you an output, and that output is basically a name of a celebrity, right? So this skill can be used by kids, can be meant for kids for entertainment purposes. That what you do is you give different inputs, like what is your favorite color, what where country do you live in, what books do you read, and similarly a few more. And what it does, it on the basis of that, it gives you a celebrity name, the name of a celebrity which resembles the most to you. So at least it looks like this from this part, as we see it. uh, we'll see how we are doing that in the back end, but at least it looks like it's super fancy, and it can have gain some interest even in adults also, not only not only kids. So what I'll do, I have to now share my own screen. And can you please turn off the PPT for now? I'll be sharing my screen. It's too blurry, I think. Are you guys able to see the screen or not? What I would like to ask you to do is, no one's able to see the screen. What's happening? Oh, this is too blurred. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to like have it clear. If it's not clear, then what's the use? Oh my god, that's too much blurred. Okay, so I'm getting some suggestions to use Google Meet and then upload it later on, and you can use Google Meet. See, the thing is, we could have used Google Meet. It's not up to me, it's up to them. And I haven't seen this problem ever before because I have taken many working, but it's not working right now. Can't say anything on that. So how do you think we should proceed? Hello. So is the screen again blurred or is it visible now? Okay, if the screen is visible, what I asked you to do is go to developer.amazon.com, and instead what you can do, type Alexa developer console on Google, the first link that shows up is that of the Alexa console. Go to the console and we'll just start off. If you are already there on the console, um, it's clear now. Okay, I'm getting that it's clear now. Fine. Oh my god, finally it's clear. So guys, if it's clear, let's start off. It's already a lot of time being wasted in just to adjust all of this. Uh, if you have opened the developer console, clearly visible, now it's visible, clearly visible, now visible. Okay, finally it's visible. So what you do is you must have opened your developer console. I'm just again waiting for just a few seconds so that all of us are there on the same pace. You must have opened your developer console by now. Okay, just waiting for all of you to open it. So by now you are there on the console. Now, if this is the first time that you are on the console, this is where all your skills or whatever you'll be creating will be there. If you haven't created any, this list won't be appearing, and it'll just be a blank canvas where you need to start working. And if I have already created some of the skills, you can have a look up. You can see that they are already there listed. And if you want to start with creating a new skill, what you do is just tap on this create skill button. Okay, so I think you are doing that simultaneously. Once you click on that button, create skill, uh, what's that? How to open it? Okay, so what you do is go to Google, then type Alexa developer console. Okay, when you type it, this link which says developer.amazon.com Alexa console ask is the link that you need to open, right? The link is already there in the comment section as well. If you can simply tap on that link and you can move forward where we are right now. Okay, now you must have opened the Alexa console and you must have tapped on create skill button. After that, you're prompted with this screen. Now what does this screen do? This screen lets you asks you for the skill name. So you need to enter this skill name. Now this skill name is different from that invocation name which I was talking about in the presentation. This skill name appears on the catalog of the Alexa skill store. So this is not what the users will have to speak to enable your skill. Rather, to work with your skill, rather it's something that will appear on the website. That's it. So you'll be entering the invocation name in a while. Now just enter the skill name. For example, what you're doing is we are guessing the character of a person. So I'll say the skill name as actor what actor I am, or am I, or anything. I'm saying the name as what actor I am. Now the point is how to change no, what to choose in this default language. When you tap on this check drop down option, you'll see that there are plenty of other options, and within which you can see English India. Just tap on it, English India. Now what are those other options? See, Alexa is actually available throughout different countries, and what they have done is they have divided it into different zones, and every zone has a different accent in which Alexa can speak, right? So for India, it's English India, and it's this particular accent of Alexa is available only in the Indian subcontinent. For English Australia, you can use English AU. For English US, you select English US. So if you use English US, this particular skill or this particular skill will be published in the US skill store. We want to have it that in India, so that's why I'm selecting English India. Moving forward, it'll ask us to choose a model or to your skill. There are several other models that we can have if you want to have a video or a smart home or anything like that. But I would rather go with the custom one, and uh, because this gives you a more blank canvas kind of thing, right? Now you just tap on the custom. Next is choose a method to host your skills backend. So as I already told you, there are the Alexa is already provisioned all of the AWS things onto itself. So that's what we call as Alexa hosted. And you have two SDKs available, that's Node.js and Python. And what we're doing today is we're going forward with Alexa hosted on Node.js. So it's already selected. You just need to tap on that. So the selected thing is there. Then when you're done with this, go to the top right corner of the screen, and tap on create skill. Now it will take some time, and uh, you'll if not, you'll be prompted to the next page, which is choosing a skill template. Now these are different templates which you can have, for example, a fact skill or some other skill, and you can start off with these other templates. The simplest one is the hello world skill, which simply says hello, or simply says hello world when you say hello to Alexa. So you kind of get that particular template. So already we it's selected, and we always start with the hello world skill. So just it's already selected. What you do is continue with template, tap on it. Now it will show you that it's creating your hosted skill. It will take about a minute. What is it doing right now? It is provisioning all your resources at the backend. It is creating a voice model, and it is making things ready for you to work upon it. Basically, it's doing everything in the background, and you need not to worry about anything. They have actually created it in a very sophisticated manner, so that it makes it very easy for you. It's You can see it says it's provisioning AWS resources, so you know that Amazon has its own infrastructure of AWS, and it obviously leverages that power of AWS to uh, reach out to millions of people using Alexa. Apart from that, it's even preparing our code editor that we told that I told you. It takes about a minute, and you just need to wait on that. And if everything goes successful and you are done with the creation of your template, this is what you will find, and this is where your whole thing will will be working on all of that. So I'll just cross all these notifications which is popped up. This is the build tab which is opened, and in the center of the screen you will see how to get started. So in the middle there are certain documentation and links to some YouTube resources which you can have a look if you want to have more in-depth knowledge on Alexa. And apart from that, on the right hand side is the skill builder checklist, which is kind of a checklist that needs to be checked if you want to publish a skill. So you see it's already checked because we started with a template, that's a hello world template, right? Towards the right is something which is of our use, actually. So towards the right you see custom written because it's a custom skill. Below that you see it's the invocation tab. So when you tap on it, we need to change it. You tap on it, and that's the invocation name which I was talking about. Now there are some information about the invocation name which is written below it. It says that you cannot use words like launch, ask, tell, which are actually the launch phrases, and not even the words like skill or app. You can have a look at this box. So I'll just give a name, an invocation name. And what invocation name shall I give? I shall give the invocation name is um, I shall give my character, right? Or my character. Okay, fine. I'm giving this. And just after giving your skill invocation name, what you do is save the model. Okay, we have saved the model. Now, below the invocation tab, you see it's the interaction model which we were talking about. You expand that interaction model, and you see different things over here. The most important thing, which is it's the intents, right? Tap on intents. Now you can easily see that there are different intents which are already there. Now just a second, open this particular arrow. Now, when you open the intents, it shows up two different kind of things. First one you can see is the hello world intent, right? So first is the hello world intent, and then you can see the built-in intents, which are 5 in number, and namely they are Amazon dot cancel intent, help, stop. So these are actually those intents whenever you are working with your skill. I already told you they need to be there, and if the user says cancel, then this particular intent has to work. If the user says help, then that help intent has to work, and similarly for others. So let's have a look what's the hello world intent doing. When you tap on the hello world intent, it shows you the name hello world intent. Okay, then it gives you some sample utterances. Now, what are sample utterances? These are those utterances what the user might say to invoke this intent, right? So we already discussed about utterances. These are same things that utterances map to intents. That's what we are giving Alexa. We are already telling it that these things the user can say. Then whenever user says these things, or whenever user speaks these sentences or words, you have to catch them within this particular intent, which we name as the hello world intent. So now what's already there is it says hello, how are you, and all that. And whenever these are triggered or whenever these are spoken, this particular intent is triggered. Okay, so just give you an overview how things will work. I gave the invocation name as my character, and what I'll do, I'll just straight away test this template. Okay, I'm opening the test tab, which you can see over here. I'm opening the test tab in a new tab, of course. Uh, I've opened it, and let us just see what this particular template gave us. So when you go to the test tab, and you'll see it's disabled, you just tap on development, it will enable it. Now the test is enabled, and on the left you see Alexa simulator written over here. So that's where you need to type in the commands. So here you need to not to type the wake word, which is Alexa. It's already understood. What you need to type is just the launch word, that is start. And what I named it, I think I named it my character. So start my character. If I say this, then it should start my skill, or it would invoke my skill. Let's see what happens. Okay. So just a second, I'll need to change. I think I need to change this invocation name, because uh, the simulator is not just testing for the skills, it's actually the whole Alexa sitting in the behind, right? So it is catching it and it's suggesting me to do something else. It's not catching my invocation name. Okay. I understood what's my problem. What my problem is. I gave this invocation name as my character. What you need to do is you need to tap on build model as well. So after saving all of the things which we'll do in a while, after changing the invocation name, you have to save the model and then you have to tap on build model. Now when you're done with the build model, then only we'll be testing it out. So what's happening in the background when you are building the model? It's simply training a machine learning model in the background, and it's feeding in all the inputs that we gave, and it's kind of training it to give some, to work with the skill according to what our intents we are having, and it's basically training on all the intents that we have. So once the training gets completed, you'll see it's already done on my side, and you'll see this notification full build successful. When you're done with that, just come to the test tab and just refresh your page for a while. When it will get refreshed, you can you can then test your skill. So what I'll say start my character. Okay, so my invocation name looks like a pretty weird one. You can have a good one at your end, no issues in that. I'll say start my character and I'll press enter. Let's see what Alexa says now. Okay, so it says welcome. You can say hello or help. Which would you like to try? So that is a response which came to me as soon as I started my Alexa skill. I spoke to Alexa start, and then the invocation name. This is the first statement which Alexa is speaking from its end, right? So I'll say hello. Let's see what Alexa responds. I said hello, and Alexa says hello world. Now this is a template which we already got, right? Now towards the center of your screen, you can see there are two JSON which are available to you. You see it's JSON input 1 and this is JSON output 1. So let's have a look at the left hand input, JSON input. When you scroll it to the bottom, it contains all, you can see it contains all the information which is related to your skill only. Towards the bottom, you see it says request. Now within request, it also says, just a second, I'll try to magnify it if that works or not. Okay, if that is working, it says request and the type of intent request, and it has a request ID, it has a locale. Locale is basically English India, which we chose. It has a timestamp and it has an intent attached to it. Within intent, we have the name, which is hello world intent. Okay, that got invoked when we said hello. And apart from that, nothing important is there. Now let's have a look. What response did we get? There is a JSON response which we are getting. So you see under the output speech, we are getting under SSML, it's hello world, right? It's something that's we are getting from our backend. So this hello world must have been written somewhere in the backend, and that's why it's responding it in this way, right? So that's where things get interesting. Yeah. So that's the exchange of information that's happening between your interaction model and your backend, right? If you are having any questions, you can post them in the comment section. I'm already checking that comment section as well. If you're having any problems, all right. So let's also have a look at the code tab, what's there inside it, as to how Alexa responded in this way. So I'll obviously explain the backend part in a while. So I already told you that there are intent handlers, and I'll explain it in a much, in more detail. So how to do that? So I'll be doing that in a while, but till then you just focus on this particular thing. Like whatever I highlighted, this is the intent which is handling the hello world, and within this you see the hello world written over here, which is being given it as output. Okay, so I think this is pretty easy to understand. And let's go back to the interaction model and let's build out the thing which we were doing, which you saw in the video, right? In the demo of the skill which I just showed you. We try to make it again. Okay. So now, just a second. Yes. So now what I'll ask you to do is you create a new intent, and that will be the intent that will take all the description about the inputs which the user is giving. Like what the skill is doing. It's taking different inputs about the country, age, and all that, and then it's giving an output. So you'll just be handling all of those things under single intent only. Okay. So I'll say the name as a description. Uh, I'll say it's a description intent only, intent, and tap on create custom intent. So you see on the left pane description, it opens up, and you are popped up with sample utterances to give in. And now what you'll do is, so you saw in the video, right? It says, Alexa says, like your skill which we are creating, it'll say, when it opens up for the first time, it'll say, hey, I can do this, I can guess your character. You can start by saying your favorite color. You can start by saying which country do you live in, or you can even start by saying which book do you read. So giving choice to the user as to speak anything, and you need to catch it on your own way. And apart from that, you should have also noticed that when your skill says, for example, when the user says, when I said that I like red, the skill responded in a manner that, okay, I got that you like red, even red is my favorite, and what country do you live in? So then I said, I live in India. And then Alexa replied, okay, I got that you live in India. Now, what's your favorite book? So you saw that how natural the conversation was going. All right. So you, like, even if you are a developer, even if you are a beginner, I would recommend to, go forward with these kind of skills or these kind of tutorials where they teach you to make something a bit complicated, not very complicated, but in that way you'll gain understanding of what's going on and how things are working. So in this description intent, what the user can say, like the user can say, I like red color, right? A user can say this, I like red color. So will it work? if I say it in that way, if I type it in that way, because red, as you already know, it's a variable, right? It's not a static sentence. Or even if you think that we're going to be entering different uh, sample utterances, then they may contain different names of the colors. For example, if I write a sample utterance with I like red color, I like green color, okay, blue color, so that's horrible. That won't be we'll be doing. We learned about slots, right? And that's where slots will come into play. So we already have a look at how the static intents are working. We are like developing something great over here. So we'll be using slots. So the user will say, I like red color. So I'll name the slot as color, okay? And when you have to type in a slot name, you have to start it with curly braces. As soon as you type an open curly brace, it automatically gets colored, and you type in the name and you close your curly brace, right? Now, and then you press enter. So a user can say, I like red or I like green. So all of those things will get caught under color. One thing to note over here is we have just named a variable. It's similar to C++. It's like writing int x, right? Nothing else. We haven't assigned what values x can take, and not even what type x can take, right? We haven't assigned anything. We just declared a variable, and that's just a name. Okay, we haven't even declared the type. Okay, not even int. So it's just a name over here. That's color. Apart from this, what a user can say is we told about um, country, I think. Yeah, we told about country. So what country do you live in? So how do you handle about the things with country? Just a second. So if a user says, I like red color, or yeah, you can even have that. Oh, my favorite color is color, the slot name. Okay, in that way. So in that way, you're entering all of these into it, all of the sample utterances. Now, these are not all. Like this is just the first part. Apart from that, a user can also say, I live in India, because we asked it to start with any of these. So even it says I live in India. So what India is? India is actually a country. So India has to be a different slot. So what we take is I live in, or I'll write I live in country. Okay, and as soon as I write it COUNTRY, write it in open braces, it automatically detects that it is a new slot. Okay, there are existing slot is a color, and of course when I'll press enter, it will automatically create a new slot, because whatever existing slot is there, it's not matching with the name. Okay, I'll press enter, and see the country comes in a different color. It's very easy to visualize that we are having a new slot over here. Now a user can even say, I like red color, and I live in India, or anything else like country. Okay, so that will again be a slot. So these are the possibilities whatever user can speak. We ask user for like 3-4 inputs, and even the user can say all of those inputs in a single sentence. So we need to be ready on that also. User can say, I like reading this book. I like reading, like you can say Lord of the Rings, for example. So I'll create a new slot, okay, named as book, and I'll press enter. As soon as I press enter, you can see it, the color changes to something else, right? And even you can have a whole sentence which already takes in all of the slots. Now, one thing to notice over here is we have created 3 intents. I'll also create the other 2 intents which are left. We have country, and we have not had age, right? It was asking for age also. So yeah, the user can say I am 10 years old, so it will be a new slot which we can name it as age. I'll write age years old. Okay, I'm naming this slot as age, right? And I'll press enter. You see it comes under a new color. and yes, next the user can even say I am 21, for example. So I am age. So and yes, so there can be different variations of this. You can obviously add those sample utterances onto this place. All you can see it's displaying 1 to 5 of 8. We have already done with 8. One is left is gender. It was asking, are you a boy or a girl? So I'll say I am a guy. Okay, so or a boy or a girl. So I'll name the slot as gender. All right, and I'll press enter. I am a boy or a girl, or you can have any variation of this. Okay, now within this intent only, do not tap on anywhere else. We are on the description intent, and we have given some sample utterances with like different slots. When you move down, you'll see that all the slots are listed over here, and you'll see the slot type column is empty, right? Because we haven't defined till now as to what values will these slots take. Okay, let's do that now. Now for color, what we want is something which is uh, there has to be a list of colors through on to which it will map. So what Amazon has done is it has already provided us with a lot of varieties of intents and of slots and slot types rather, and one of them is color, of course. So what you need to do is you just write color, and you see that Amazon.color already pops up. Now, if you want to know more about any of the slot types, or even if you want to know more how many slots are there, or is this slot already there by Amazon or not, so what you can do is you can simply go to Google and type in uh, slots and then Alexa. Simply, you do not need to write anything else. The first link that pops up is that of the Alexa documentation, and says slot type reference. You tap on it, and when you click on that, you'll see different kind of slots which are there, like Amazon date and all of these, and you can scroll it down, and you can see what all are there. So what we did, what I was typing, like what slot I gave as Amazon.color. So let me search for color. Is it there or not? Okay, let's see, is it there or not? Yeah, it's there. So I've just searched the page, and I found that Amazon color is there, and what it takes is names of colors. And yes, it taking all of the colors, and even like colors like these: dusky pink, international, clean blue, and all of these, right? So it's a huge list of colors only, right? Let's move back to the console and let us assign the types to all other slots that we created. For country also, Amazon has already created a built-in slot. What do you know? How do you search for it? You type in country, and it says Amazon.country, right? You select for that. For book also, we have one built-in intent, BOOK book. You write it, and it shows Amazon.book. For age, what you can think is what's an age? It's a number, right? So they won't be having some slot named as age, but rather as a number. So what we can do is we can use the Amazon.number intent, sorry, slot, to assign to this particular slot of ours, that is age. So if I assign Amazon.number, it will take the age. One thing to notice over here is Amazon.number will be taking all the numbers, even negative numbers, and even numbers which are pretty higher. For example, if I say my age is 1111, it will accept that, isn't it? Just keep that in mind, and we'll be working on that even in a while. All right. And one more thing over here, if you guys are thinking that how can I, that if you are entering many utterances over here, or if you're left anywhere, if you're stuck anywhere, I'll be providing you with links, and with just one single copy paste, you can fill this entire interaction model with all of the intents and the slots, and the similar manner it gets filled up with just one copy paste. So if you're stuck anywhere, don't worry. Just you can what you can do is just watch the video till that very moment when I ask you to copy paste. Once you copy paste, you'll definitely have everything similar to what I am having right now on my screen. All right, you just understand things how it's happening, because this is something very easy, but you won't find it everywhere. And even in workshops that people usually take, they'll just explain you how to create a basic skill like happy birthday skill and all that. But here I'm trying to cover almost all of the things, because we are having plenty of time still left, right? Okay, so we are done with age skill, sorry, age slot. Now comes the we need to talk about gender. So Amazon, I don't think it has something about gender or not. No, 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 it doesn't have it about the gender. How do you do that, sir? Uh, One thing which I think, which everybody needs to think is, it isn't that Amazon has provided some built-in intents and we need to work on those only. There will be, you know, chances where we need to create our own slots. How will be doing that thing? So to do that, we can create custom slots. How do you do that? Let's have a look. When I tap on gender, uh, this thing opens up. Okay, what I did, we were here in description. I tapped on gender, and you see we haven't selected a slot type. So first, in order to make a custom slot type, and what is a custom slot type? That custom slot type that we'll be creating is, it will contain just two values, right? A boy or a girl, or male or female, or anything like that. So when you have to create a custom slot type, you need to first create it, and then it will get assigned to the slot name gender that we created. So first we have to create a new slot type. Now for that, just scroll below, and when you scroll down, you'll see over here listed as slot types, and it is already showing four, right? We filled up four. We said Amazon.color and Amazon country, Amazon book. So when you click on slot types, which is four, it appears, and over here it says add slot type. So I need to tap this in order to create a new or a custom slot type. Now when I tap that, it shows me with a name. I'll type in the name of the slot type as gender type, right? That makes sense. Okay, and then I type next. So it's what it's doing is creating a custom slot type. Apart from that, you can even use an existing slot type on from the built-in library that we have, that we saw. Like we are having so many different slots, and when you use that slot, you can even add your own values to those slots. For example, we saw a slot type of countries or books. So if you choose an existing slot type from that particular like that book slot type, and then when you choose this option, you will be given a chance, or you will be given a box where you can even enter your own values, and those values will get added to the list of books that you get from the built-in type, right? But now what we are doing is we are creating a custom slot, and we are not using the built-in types. So I named it as gender type, and I'll tap next. Once you tap next, this thing opens up. Now we need to enter some slot values, right? So what values can it take? Everybody knows, like gender type, we're just working with simple values. So it can take value as a boy. Since you are working with kids, and kids don't usually say that I'm a male or I'm a female, they'll obviously say I'm a boy or a girl, right? So when I typed in boy, you can see it came over here under value boy. Then it shows an ID, which is optional for the moment, and it shows some synonyms, right? Okay, I'll talk about it in a while. uh, I'll also enter the next value which the slot can take. It will be a girl. Okay, so it takes two values, boy and a girl, and nothing more than that. Now for a girl, what all synonyms can be there? Now what are synonyms? Synonyms are basically different words which will again get mapped to this particular slot if we speak those. Now for example, if someone's using the skill, they say I'm a lady, right? So a lady should map to a girl. So we'll enter all those different synonyms into it. So what you do is type in the name and then press enter. Okay, when you press enter, that name gets added, and you can see it towards the right side, that synonym is added. We can even say a woman, and we can say female. Okay, of course, and type in as many as you want. You can say madam. Nobody says like I'm a madam, but in case if anybody says, it should understand, Alexa should understand. So these are like those edge cases like you do in competitive programming. So yeah, right. Now similarly we can do it for boy also. It can say a male, a guy, you can say what else? Man, right? You can say a man, and any others that you can think of. You can add them over here. Now, what you do is save the model. Click on save, and the model got saved. Now go back to gender. Okay, under the intent, you go back to gender over here, and then under the slot type, what you do is search for the custom slot type which you just named. What we named it as we named it as gender type, right? Name it, and then it automatically takes this value, and you save the model. Okay. Now I think things are pretty much easy to understand, and we have what we have done till now is we have some utterances which are taking 5 different slot values, and then all of the slots are assigned to different slot types. 4 are inbuilt intents, and one of them, which is gender, is having custom intent type, which is gender type, and we created it under slot types, which is gender type. Okay, we tapped on gender type, and this particular screen opens. You see it has values, which is girl and a boy, and which has synonyms, which are these many. All right, that's there. Now, before moving forward, what do you think this particular problem also needs certain validations? What are validations? As I already told you, in the case of age, someone can say my age is minus 47. So what does minus 47 mean in terms of age? No, right? Nothing. Because and how can minus 47 even be taken in as input? Because we mentioned the slot type as number, and number can obviously take anything, right? So I think, yeah, okay. So there is no problem with anyone. I just was just checking the comment section. That's fine. I hope you are working with us. Okay. So what needs to be done is we need some kind of validations on what values can be taken in. So let's go to age. You can see it over here. Just tap it on age. This particular again opens up, and what it says is it says validations, right? You tap on validations over here, and then what you do is you see create a validation rule. Validation is what rule can you get now depending upon the type of the slot. Here with the type is amazon.number. uh, what validations can we have? Let's see. When you open this list, these are the different validations that you can have. Okay, so what you want is accept less than a value, accept only a set of values, reject only a set of values, and different things. So what I would want is I want that it should accept a value which is greater than something, like, so I tap on this, I selected accept greater than a value, and then I need to press this plus button. When I press this plus button, these are the active validation rules which are like applied. Now you also need to enter what's that integer that the value needs to be greater than. So like this is a skill for kids, but a kid whose age is I think below 6 years of age, that will be I think not acceptable. So I'll enter 6, right? So whenever a user says that my age is 5, 4, or even less anything less than 6, or even negative numbers, it'll ignore all of that, and it'll say something that means it has to be something valid, right? There has to be something within the range of human age. So below that, what you see, it says what will Alexa ask or Alexa say to ask the user for an acceptable value. So what the user can say what for Alexa should say, Alexa should say that that doesn't look like an age, you are too young. You should say you are too young, you are too young, and continue if you are above 6 years old, are above 6 years old. Okay, and then we simply ask what is your age. You're understanding how the conversation is like being built up. We are taking care of different possibilities what are there using these validations. Now another point is if the user can say Acha, after just when you wrote this, you have to press enter so that that particular statement which Alexa needs to speak gets registered. You can have as many sentences as you like over here. Now you can have another validation set. What you can have is, if a user cannot like, that human age is like 120 years at max, and that too at max. So if a user can say, it says I'm 300 years old, that's also not acceptable. So you need to accept a value which is less than or equal to a value. Okay, so I tapped on accept less than or equal to, and then I press plus. Over here it says accept, like over here it comes. So accept less than or equal to a value. I'm entering for example 120. Okay, just okay, let's enter 120 is fine. Now Alexa will again say, what Alexa has to say over here. So we can say that doesn't look like your age. That doesn't look like your age. What is your actual age? Right, if a user says 1000, so that's not a user's age. What's his actual age? We are asking for the actual age. All right, you press enter, it will register that particular prompt. All right, when you're doing this, just click on save model. Keep clicking on save model in case your connection drops or anything happens. So model is saved at the Alexa console. Now similarly, let me also tell you something about color. Let's have what all rules can we have for color, right? Now this is just for educational purposes so that you understand how validations work. So for color, we can, it says it can accept only a set of values and it rejects only a set of values. So for color, you saw that it was taking in a different variety of values. I just want that my user should say only few values, right? So this is just for educational purposes. You can obviously omit this part. So just to make you understand how things are working, what I'll say that it will accept only red. Okay, red. It should accept only green, blue, and for example yellow. Nothing other than this. Uh, now what will Alexa say if a user says, for example, I like mustard or something like that? So in such a case, when you are just taking a set of values, what you should do is you can say, you can choose, or you can say any from you can say any value like red, green, blue, and yellow, and then you say this, and then you say what is your favorite color. So then the user can say like, I'll like fine, that's a red, that's red color. I'm not, it's not mustard, it's yellow. Okay, like that. So what is your like favorite color? Okay, typing mistake, sorry. And then you press enter. uh that's done. Now for example, again, if for country, if you want any kind of validations, that's fine. For book, if you want any kind of validations, that you can do over here. For gender, of course, you can like let's say, for example, let's have a validation for gender also. So you can see this validations are happening when I'm switching this to this particular tab. Then only this validations and the rules and all, they open up. So make sure you are under the validations tab. Then only you will be able to see all of this what I'm doing. For gender, I am having just two values. And for example, if a user says, I am like, I'm a chairman or something like that. For example, if you ask for his gender and he says something abrupt, which is out of your domain, so you can simply validate it and you can say accept only slot type values and synonyms. Okay, and then you press plus. Now you know what all values and synonyms we gave in for, like we gave in boy, guy, man, and all that. And what you'll say to the user, you can say that is not your gender. What is your gender? Okay, say this, right? So all of this is happening, and that's pretty much understandable also, that we have intents, and then within those intents we have slots. I'm just again repeating what we have done till now. Slots, and for slots we have slot different types. But for most of these slots, what we have done is we have validated them, that will take only certain set of values which are according to our need. One important thing which is left is, now when I start to test this skill, how can Alexa understand that it needs to ask, or it needs that this particular slot is required or not, or how it knows it needs to be fulfilled? So if now you start to go and develop the backend, and then we test the skill, what will happen is it will prompt fine. You can the skill will begin something like that you can say something like what's your gender and all that. So even if the user doesn't say or doesn't speak that my gender is, or my age is 21 or 22, even then Alexa will accept that particular intent, and it will send it to the backend. And at the backend, when you'll pass that JSON and all, we'll see that that slot value is empty because the user never spoke that value. What we want is to enforce the user, or somehow get the values, all these slot values from the user, and then only send our request from this front end or the interaction model to our backend. We don't want to process anything at the backend, and we don't want to do that if age is not there, then again send a request back to the interaction model and then again ask the user to speak his age and on everything like that. What we want is things should happen here itself on the interaction model. Now to do that, what you need to do is you need to click on these slots. For example, the color. Someone says is getting this for age model. See, Bharat, what you do is, if you're getting this error, you go to your age. I'm just showing it on the screen, okay, right now. You go to your age slot, and then you go to validations. Okay, you're under validations now, and what you do is, what is it showing? Slot validation must not be empty. So you just forgot to enter this value. Okay, you enter this value, whatever value you need your age to be less than, or you must have forgot to enter this value 6 or something like that, and you need it to be there, and then only you will be able to save the model. Now see, I saved the model and it got saved successfully. I think this should solve your problem. Now coming back, what I was talking about is, we need to enforce the user to take in uh, all the slot values at one time only. So this is done through dialog delegation. The name is heavy, but the work it's doing is pretty simple, right? For color, what I can do is, what you have to do is, you come under color and you tap on this thing, this checkbox, which says, is this slot required to fulfill the intent? Yes, that is required. You do this. Now two more boxes open, and they say, what will Alexa prompt if the user for the user to fill this slot? So Alexa will prompt, what is your favorite color, right? Just to ask the user to fill this prompt. And what the user will say the name of the color. So here you need to enter the slot value. So you enter color, right, and then press enter. Or user can say it is red, so it is color, like that. You press enter. Now one more thing, you can even say it something like that for example, when Alexa was asking, like, turn by turn, what's your favorite color, what's your favorite country, you can even have it that way, that you whatever slots that are already there and Alexa knows those slots, what you do is you can even include those slots within your speech prompts. What you'll say is, you'll say, okay, I got that you live in India, for example. So that'll be, you live in country. So it'll speak out whatever country you said to it, and then okay, I got that you live in India. Now tell me your favorite color. Tell me your favorite color, right? And then just press enter. So now, if country it's something that it has already taken in, or it's called the value of country, then only it will prompt this particular utterance. Otherwise, it will say, "What's your favorite color?" I think you must have got the idea what I'm trying to do over here. Okay, below it, you say that slot confirmation. Does this slot require confirmation? Now, what is this? This is actually not of our need right now, because whenever this is enabled, what it'll say is, if you say my favorite color is red, then Alexa will prompt, you said that your favorite color is red. Is that right? Then the user will say yes. And then this particular slot gets confirmed. So that's not of our use. But we saw in the demo that Alexa was trying to do that confirming all the slots at once towards the end. It said like, you're a guy, you like this color, you live in this country and all that. And then says, is that right or am I correct? So we'll do that in a while. But first, let us also do this thing which we did for color to other slots as well. So let's move to country, and this country is also required. I'll just tap required, and then again tap. Fill in the values like what country do you live in, country do you live in, and all that. And then what all utterances the user can say. The user can say, I live in country, so you have to type in the slot name. Similarly as the previous one which we did, we can even have you can even say I like you can say I got that your favorite is red, your favorite is red, which will be the slot value is red, and you like reading Harry Potter, you like book. If these two values are already there with you, then only it will prompt this particular statement. And what is your country, or which country do you belong to? So something like that. You can have all of this. Don't bother on entering it right now, just try to understand what's happening. So all of this is done. Okay, you can have it for book, age, and gender. I'll just tell you, I'll just let you know, let you populate all of this at once. I'll just share your link with you. Just last thing which is left is go to the description intent again, and towards the end, you'll say intent confirmation. Does this intent require confirmation? So the user at least needs to know what all information did it give, or whether Alexa got it correctly or not. So all of the slots, when they get the information, what will happen is Alexa will confirm that whether this is the name of the slot, these are the slots or not. So you need to say, you need to name out it in a very understandable manner. You can say you are a guy. You can say you are a guy or a boy. Okay, you are a guy. Then press comma. You like red. You can say, and you like you read. You like reading. You like reading book. Okay, that's a slot. All of these are slots. Then you live in India. You live in India, and you are years old. Okay, okay, and you say am old, am I correct? Something like that, and then you press enter. So this is the confirmation that will happen once you enter, or once the user enters all of these values. Just note that these values will be taken by Alexa, not in a manner like in this order only. It can be anything, like it depends on the user what will speak. So how is all this happening? This is basically happening because of dialogue delegation strategy, which automatically gets activated whenever we switch on this tab, which I just forgot to do for all others. You need to do it for all of the other tabs as well, because that's required, and we need to fill in this information as well, the prompts and what the user will say. Okay, so whenever you switch on, like slot filling required is on, this particular dialog delegation automatically changes from off to fallback to skill setting. What does this mean is, whenever a slot is empty or whenever a slot isn't there, Alexa will prompt the user and go back to the settings, whatever settings you have for this particular for every slot. These are the settings, right? These are the settings. So these, it will fall back to these settings and then try to grasp all of the slot values that should be that should be there. Okay, great. Now you must be worried that how can I have all the values filled in directly as you said. So what I said is, whatever values you are entering, or whatever interaction model you've been creating, that all is being created inside this JSON editor as well. That means they are all in the in the form of JSON, and you can have a look whatever I created. That's there. See, it has samples like this and that, and everything important that is required for you. So if you delete all of this, then all of the interaction model that you have will get deleted. What I do is copy whatever I'm telling you to whatever I'm telling you in this JSON editor, because yesterday I already created the skill and I have entered um, quite a few these sample utterances, and that will work for you, right? So I'll ask the moderator to kindly place the link in the comment section so that you can easily copy it from there. Apart from that, if you're not anyhow you're not able to do that, what I'll ask you to do is go to Alexa Dev Hub. This is our own organization on GitHub. Okay, type in Alexa Dev Hub, and the first link that opens up is this one, Alexa Dev Hub. So this is our own organization, and we are a part of. And I'm actually, I have actually this. We have actually started this organization of ours where we build skills for in open source. So the first one, the pinned repository, it says Alexa skill guess my character. Now you just you must have like opened the skill using the link which the moderator must have put that in the comment section. Okay, I'm seeing like the live telecast is just quite a few seconds behind what I'm doing right now. Like rather, it's minutes behind that. Okay, fine. That's distracting. I'm just switching it off. Seeing myself there. This particular skill of ours, what you need to copy for the where you'll be finding that JSON that's required. You tap on that interaction models within the code part, then you click on English India JSON, and there here it is. That's the whole JSON that you need to copy. Select all of it till the very bottom. I know it's pretty long. It has 430 lines. And simply copy all of it. Okay, then go back to your console. Inside the JSON editor, first of all, select everything and then erase everything. Make sure you're erasing everything, otherwise it'll definitely create some problem. And then just paste it out. You have pasted it, and see that there it is. So what you do is you just save the model, and it'll automatically update your interaction model with whatever I did yesterday. Even I erased whatever I did right now. Okay. So in the invocation name, what you'll be having is guess my character as the invocation name. What I'll do is I'll change that to something else. In my case, you can leave it as it is. I'll say just my character, because guess my character invocation name is given to the other one as well. So it may create some problem. So I say my character and I save it. Now have a look at what all got changed. See, in this one, in the character description intent, it gave different colors to the different slots. You can see that slot filling is automatically there. Some sample utterances, prompts, and all, they're already filled. There are certain validations already there, right? And everything is like set up for you. So you can pretty much go ahead and test it out. Now, we haven't done anything in the backend, but if you want to test out whatever is our skill doing it correctly or not, so we can do that using this evaluate model button over here. So what it'll do, it'll just see what just let you know how the interaction model is working without going to the backend. So I don't have much time left. I'll just quickly show the demo. Before that, what you do is tap on build model. Okay, you're building the model, and it's progressing. Once it gets built, it will show me which is the utterance profiler, and then over here I'll start to enter some of the other things. Like I'll say I like red color, and then let's see what happens. So let this quick build get finished up, and then we'll continue. In just a second, I'm just watching that in the comment section. Uh, you must have given the first link. Like I sent you the first link. You should just also give that link also, because that's the link to this JSON editor. Okay, if anyone's having any problem, if you're not able to reach where the code is or where's the repository is, you can obviously follow. As I already told you how to find that repository on GitHub. It is named as Alexa DevOps, right? Okay, no problem. Now since the build is complete, I'll just test the skill out. I'll say I like red color, or I like red. It says even red is my favorite. By the way, which country do you live in? I'll say I live in India. I live in, not in India, I'll say I live in Ireland, for example. Right? So it says I got that you live in Ireland. What's your age? So for example, this is a kid using it, and simultaneously you can see in the bottom section it shows the intent, which intent it is getting. It also shows what slots and what values are getting filled up. So for country, Ireland got filled up. For color, red got filled up, and for gender, book, and age, it's not yet filled. So it has asked me what's your age. I'll say I am 12. Okay, fine, I'm 12 years old. For example, a kid is working on the skill, so he'll say I'm a boy, right? And which book do you read? I'll say I'll read Harry Potter. Now you see it prompts up with that particular prompt which I just wrote at the end. It says you are a boy, you like reading Harry Potter, you like red color, and you live in Ireland, and you are 12 years old, and you are 12 years old. Is that right? The boy will say yes, that's right. You can say anything like yes, yep, or anything. When you say yes, you see this green tick mark appears, and it says that this particular intent is confirmed, and the confirmation true is true or successful, and these are the slot values. Now all these slot values are together sent in the request packet to the backend, right? This is sent to the backend. Now it's there. Now what we need to do is we need to handle all of this at the backend. So now how do you how do you type the code in the backend? Just go to the code tab. You must have already saved your code at that location. Now what I asked you to do is, let me just explain it to you, whatever it's there inside this particular code section. So inside the code section, you see we have a Lambda folder, and within which these folders we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different files. From that, index.js is the most important one. Apart from that, we have package.json also. If you are familiar with Node.js environment, this is the regular structure of any application that you create using Node.js. So inside index.js, we're having all of these. As I already told you, we have an SDK by Amazon or Alexa. So we actually import that SDK using require. If you're not familiar with JavaScript, do not worry. I'm explaining it to you right now. It's super easy to understand. Now what you do is, Alexa is actually required. The SDK is required. Next, we see we have different intent handlers. I'm just minimizing all of these, and we'll one by one understand them. Not all of these are like required to be understood, right? I just explain the two important ones. So the first one is the launch request handler, right? So when we first launched tested the skill, which when it was in that hello world like template, so we got this reply when we first launched the skill. So you can see over here that can handle, it is actually returning just a boolean value. What it is doing is, inside the handler input, I told you there is a request envelope, and this alexa dot get request type, it's a predefined function which is there, which comes with the SDK. And what it does, it just parses your input, and then it matches that whether the request which is coming in is it that equal to the launch request or not. Okay, if that is equal to the launch request, then go to the handle function and handle that request. Okay, so that launches whenever we open the skill for the very first time. Now how it handles is, it'll simply take some text which is welcome, you can say hello or help, which would you like to try, and then it will return along with the response builder. Like, this is the way of returning the text or audio, anything. So you return the speech, whatever Alexa needs to speak as a response, along with the response builder, with the speak function, and within that you pass on that speak output, which we saved as this one, right? Apart from that, you also reprompt, and you also use these two methods. Now what are these? Reprompt is basically there to let the session open for the user to speak anything and get responses also. Like, that's basically some of the template code, and that's necessary for it to be there. I won't go into much detail because I think it will make things more complicated. It's already can be complicated for a few people. Now let me minimize the launch request handler, and let's see what's there in the intent handler. It is again similar, right? It first confirms whether the request is an intent request, and it ands it, simple ands it with the name of the intent, which is hello world intent. So first it checks if it's an intent request, and if the name of the request is hello world intent, then you have to handle it in this way, and you have to speak it out hello world, simple, right? I think that does make sense. Now what you need to do is, you need to like work on the intents which we created. So what was the name of the intent that we created? I think the name of the intent was description, something like that. Just a second, I'll just check it out. So yeah, that's character description intent. Okay, you copy all of this, copy the name of that. Okay, and you go to the code tab. Now what you do is, you can simply copy the intent handler, whatever it's doing, because we're not doing much, and then you paste it out here. You just have to rename this intent handler, and what the name you give, it's up to you, whatever name you give to the intent handler. I named it as character description intent handler, and then what you need to do is, you need to copy the name of it, and you need to export it out, right? So I named it as character description intent handler, and I copied the name, this particular name, and I moved down where all the handlers are exported, right? You see the hello world intent over here. I'll add this one also below it, and I'll place a comma, right? uh, I can see there is some miscommunication in the comment section which is happening. See guys, the first code, the code that I just pasted was that in the that of the this one, what do you call it, interaction model. Yeah, so that was for the interaction model, and I did it using the JSON editor on the interaction model. That was this JSON only. There was no JavaScript or anything like that in the interaction model. It was just plain JSON. So that I entered it from the first link, which is that of JSON itself, the skill, whatever there is, it's there on the repository of ours. So I just pasted it and saved and built the model, right? If you are having any problem in the comment section, yeah, okay, fine. Now where I was talking about this thing. You need to add whatever intents you are intent handlers you are adding to the code. You have to add them below in the exports handler also. Let's go back to that and let's see what we can do. So if the request comes in and that's an intent request and the name of the intent request is this character description intent, then you need to return true. Now if you return true, uh, you'll see handle, and you have to handle that function, and then over here you have to do something which with which you can you need to copy you need to work on whatever inputs that the user is giving. So first of all, what we need is we were giving output as some of these celebrity names, so we need to have those names also. So I just yesterday what I did, I found a data set and I created a JSON out of it. So the second link which was sent on the comment section, that is actually that of this file which I was asking you to see. Just a second, guys. Yeah. So that'll again open that particular JSON which contains the information about the celebrities. If you're not able to open that link, what you do is go to Alexa Dev Hub on Google and on GitHub, and then on the first one, which is the Alexa skill guess my character, open this, and then what you do is go to the lambda, okay, and here you have the actor data.json. Open this, and here is the list of around 100 celebrities, right? It's in the form of JSON. It has name, for example, it has name Michael Dovan. It has a rating for that particular personality and an object ID as well. So this can be used in various places. What you do is simply copy it, okay, and then inside the code tab, which we were talking about, the index.js, towards the left, what you will see it on the top left, you'll see this create file button, okay, over here on the top left. Just tap on it and it'll ask you for the name. I'll say actor data.json, actor-data.json, and then click create file. So it has to what it does, it creates a new file, and you just simply paste that JSON whatever you copied it from GitHub, okay, and till then just save it. So you have that actor data.json. You need to import that. What you do is you name it anything like celebrity data, and you require it. So it's there in the folder itself, and it is named as actor. Okay, actor data.json, like that. Okay, you do it. Now you have the celebrity data. Now next, what we need to do is somehow you need to work on the inputs. Now, as I said, we need to first get all those slot values that we got from the interaction model. And how do you get those? You need to use the Alexa's SDK's functions to get these to get to these values. Now, when we were seeing this particular JSON input and JSON output, you saw that there were some requests being sent, and that was all there in the JSON. So we need to parse that JSON somehow, and then we need to reach that particular slot value, and you need to extract it out from there. So what we can do is we can, as I said, it's there in the handler input. So if I write handler input and then I type request envelope, and then within that we have that request key value which I just showed you, and then we have the value, maybe intent was there, and then something else was there, and then ultimately you'll reach it somehow parsing the JSON. So we can do it in that way, but we are not doing it in that way because that's not something which is recommended by Amazon also, because that's why they created this whole SDK. What I'll do is, yesterday I already did that. So you can simply use this thing like Alexa dot get slot value and request envelope. So this is the third link which I have opened. It's on GitHub. So what you can do is you can of course copy the whole code which is there in the index.js file. This was the third link which was sent, and you can again copy the whole of it and then paste it, because if I start typing in, it'll obviously take some time, and we are already running short of time. So you paste all of the links over there, and then you see we have the character description intent handler. What it does is simply the same thing, and then when you move below, what it is doing is from the handler input, it's destructuring the request envelope and the response builder, because these are the two properties which the handler input has. Now within the request envelope dot request we have intent. Now this is just simple JavaScript which is simply parsing that JSON which came in. If you're not able to understand it, just leave it for now. You'll definitely give it a try after some time, and just when you're done with some basics of JS, then you can easily understand it what's happening. Otherwise, for those who know, it's simple object destructuring that you must be familiar with. Now now what I did, I created the speak output to initialize the speak output to something like, oops, I did not get that right. Okay, just initialize that to something. Next, what I did is I wrote if intent dot confirmation, because intent was already there, if intent dot confirmation status is confirmed. So this is that confirmation status which I was talking about at the end, that this is the status, that green tick which appeared, right? So whenever that green tick appears, then the confirmation status of that intent is equal to confirmed. So if it is equal to that, what you do, you extract the age out of that request envelope, and you can do that using this function Alexa dot get slot value. The first argument that it takes in is the request envelope, and the second argument it takes in is the name of the slot that you want to get the value of. So here I'm taking the value of age, then gender, then book, color, and country. So all of these are taken out. Now see, we obviously we already have a list of actors and celebrities. So how do you like map it to them? Because it was looking very fancy at the beginning when we saw the demo, that how was it able to do it. Right now what I did, to be honest, I just gave back a name randomly. Okay, but the user doesn't know it, right? And it like feels super impressive to them, that how is it happening, and what they do is they Google it, and then they'll start to think, yeah, yeah, he looks like me only and all that. So that's where the engagement will come. Apart from that, what you can do is you create a new function. Let's, for example, let's say it's calculations. So what I did, I created a new function named calculation. You can see over here on line number 39, it's calculations, and it's taking in all the slot values. Now what you do over here is you can uh, make like process these text inputs in any way, and then you return a number, right? Or you return a random number. Now that random number has to be like, that can be the index of this array in the JSON which you saw, like 0 1 2 3 4, and it can be anything in the rating as well. So you can search the array for that. So that's up to you. I'm not going to detail. That's your part, that you can do it anyway. What I'm doing right now is I'm using the math.random function and generating a random number between 0 and 98, and then what I'm taking is I'm taking the floor of it so that it's an integer, and that it's taken into the random index. And then after that we have actors data, which was imported like in this variable actors data, the data which is in the JSON, and then I'm just taking a random index and I'm just returning a name from it. So that simple thing is happening in the calculations part. So suggested actor name is returned, as you saw. Now what I'm doing is I'm also giving some sounds in the beginning and after what I speak. So how can do that? That's basically SSML. This is already going too long. Now if you search for SSML Alexa, the first link that shows up is that of SSML. What is SSML? That's speech synthesis markup language. Alexa can speak different, different phrases in different manners. Example, it can be loud, it can be soft, it can like spell out things, or and things similar to that. So towards the left, what I did, I went to the Alexa Skills Kit sound library, and here are some of the links that you get. Some of the links that you get to which you can include in your uh, skills. So I searched for game, and under game it showed me this one. I played it, any one of these I think, and I found it interesting. So what I did, it already shows you the code. Okay, it shows you the code. You copy that code. That's not code. That's basically the tag which you need to do. You copy it, and then you go back to your speak output. And I was overwriting that thing inside the output that I'm speaking. Right. So this is it. This was the link which I pasted. So first this sound will come, and then Alexa will speak. I processed your inputs, and bravo, you resemble a lot with, and I'm inputting that suggested character's name. And then again, at the end, I'm just sending back some random, music or something which resembles to that of a game. So this is how you are giving back the response, right? And that's it. Like that's the skill which is that's working. Now, one more thing over here which you can see is it shows that I have put something within this break tag. So within this break tag, you can say it says it appears to be like as a say as tag. So this is a SSML, right? You can find this in the documentation. If you write it as say as and interpret as equal to interjection, and then between it you write a few words which are valid. You can find that even in the documentation. So I'll just let you know where it is in the documentation. It's there in speech cons interjections, right? And you click English India. So when this opens up, you'll be able to see a different number of interjections which are available. You can see, and you can even play them, right? Balle balle and all that, they are there. So these are interjections. You can always have a look. Moving back to the code, so I just put that bravo thing over here, so that this bravo sounds differently when you play the skill. Now that's it. Another important thing is, apart from that, the skill got completed, right? They got a response. Apart from that, you can have you have to have this help intent handler. This is automatically created from the template, but the response which it gives if you're using the template is like you can say hello or help, right? And what would you like to start? So that's depending to that template from where we started, but you need to change it. And what you need to do is you have to change it in accordance with your skill. So here I'm telling it that if someone user says help or something like that, it should say I can tell you about what personality do you resemble. For that, I need some inputs from you. You can start by saying your favorite color, what book you like, and what country do you live in. So that needs to be relevant, and that's pretty important for your skill to pass the skill certification process also. So both of the things are done. Okay, make sure you have entered the actor data JSON, which was the second link which was sent. Okay, you have copied all of it, and make sure you have copied correctly the index.js file as well. It has to be the same one. And then if you're done with all of this, what you do is you save this file, and then you tap on deploy. Okay, and now it's time to you can of course come back to the test tab, and you can start testing your skill. That's how easy it is to work with skills. To test the skill, what you need to do is you need to click on start. You need to type start and the invocation name. I gave the invocation name as my character. For you, it is guess my character. Okay, So you need to type start guess my character. You tap enter. Let's see what happens. So here's a short audio that comes before, and then it has to be okay. It's taking time because my maybe internet is working a bit slow. So I right now heard the audio. Yeah, now it's speaking whatever I have put there in the launch request. So just to make just one addition, have a look at the launch request in the copied code, whatever you copied. In that, the launch request is even changed. It also contains this particular um, audio in the middle and then this whole statement, right? I got an audio. I think that's not audible to you. So that's how it's working, right? And you can even have a look at what all validations we made, right? So what that just refresh this test tab. What you need to do is you need to go to the test tab and then again start the skill, right? You can say start my character, and then if it says okay, it's taking time, okay, fine. I'm entering some value which was not mentioned in that. So it says you can say red, green, blue, orange, yellow, black, and green. What's your favorite color, right? So I'll say red. So then it will take that value. Okay, and then it says what country do you live in? So I live in India. And then now what's your age? So if I say my age is 400, so what it has to say is that doesn't look like your age. What is your actual age? So if I say 15 now, that's fine. Now if I say, so someone says I'm a postman, for example, because kids can say anything, right? So that, and it says that's not a change. So I can say male, right? Or if I say male, you can say, enter anything, and then things will start working. So I hope things are getting clear from my side, and that was all for the skill building process. And yeah, I'll just come back to the PPT, and if that's visible, yeah, of course that's visible. Uh, we are done with the skill creation process, and towards the end, what else do we need to do is we need to work on few more things, which is this one, is that you need to publish your skill. Now of course that when we were there in the in the skills tab, what we did, we used the build tab to create the interaction model, we used the code tab to write in the backend, then we used the test tab to kind of test all the things, and then later on when you need to publish that skill, you need to use this distribution tab. And when you go to the distribution tab, you will find a few important things, for example some description and all this. So you need to enter this carefully, and towards the end you'll see a privacy policy and a terms of use URL. What is all this? This is something that is required for your skill, and this shows that you are not violating someone's intellectual property, and whatever you are asking the users to do, you are not sharing this to anyone else. So that's the privacy policy that you need to enter. How do you find this privacy policy? You can go to Google and type in privacy policy template, or even what you can do is go to Dabble Lab and write Dabble Lab privacy policy. The first two things that appears are that of privacy policy of Dabble Lab and terms of use of Dabble Lab. So Dabble Labs is again like developing skills for Alexa. So they have put this policy over there. You can simply read it or you can copy it and then make changes according to your own skills, whatever you have, and then you can post it as a Google Doc and then post a public URL over here. So that's what you can do. Apart from that, that's trivial things which you need to enter in this set. I'll just let you know a few more things which are important. So make sure your invocation name does not have any invalid words. Of course, that's the main requirement. Your short description is apt and precise, because at times what happens is Alexa reads out that short description that comes there. Elaborate everything in your long description. Now also make sure that your built-in help intent, which I already told you, gives you relevant responses depending on your skill. Also make sure that you do not violate anyone's intellectual property. Everything that you do has to be your own. Next, you'll have to provide testing guidelines, if any, to the testers. There is a box that if you need to provide any testing guidelines, or if any guidelines that you want that the testers should know beforehand, then you need to provide all of those in that particular skill. And you need to elaborate that also, because at times what happens is that testers are not able to test your skill the way that you developed it, right? Now, next is all locals have correct information. Right now, we just used a single local, that is English India. If you have different locales, sorry, then you need to work on it also. That information has to be correct on all of them. Next is your skill does not leave the mic open for the users without asking for a question. Now this is important. If you are using that get reprompt, right? So I showed you reprompt was being used, that function, when we were returning the response. So important thing is, whenever returning a response and you're using that reprompt thing, make sure you're returning something, and then also in that speak output you're asking the user to say something. Otherwise the user doesn't know that he has to speak or not speak, right? So these are a few cases which like lead you to the rejection of your skill to be certified. Then you need to make corrections and all that. Apart from that, just take care of any irrelevant queries that a user can have. You need to handle them properly, because as we did in the validations part, we validated all our things, because now the user cannot speak anything outside the range. There can be things if you can find it out, but you can have validations for them as well. Okay, so this was something about publishing your skill. And then if you are like done with your first skill, you can take time. Of course, this video is already there on YouTube and it's not going anywhere else. What are the resources that you can have, and you can go ahead with the journey of Alexa. So of course, there is Dabble Lab and the Alexa developers YouTube channel, which is like the best thing on YouTube in terms of video tutorials. On Dabble Lab, these tutorials are regularly updated with the change in technology. Apart from that, we have the official Amazon Alexa documentation. You can always have a look at that as well. I already told you that along with one of the other ASIs, we have started a community, Alexa Jaipur community. You can always come to our LinkedIn page and, of course, the GitHub page from where we copied all the code. This whole skill is already available to you on that GitHub repository named as Alexa skill guess my character. And we have other repositories as well. You're always invited to that repository to work, fork that repository, start the repository. Apart from that, we have opportunities for designers as well. We have just started, and we are working on a website as well. So one of the repositories in that organization is that of our website. So what you can do is we have some issues over there. You can make some designs for us. You can work on the React part if you are a React developer, or even if you're a full stack developer, then we also need your help. Apart from that, you can always give us a follow on LinkedIn. We are always ready for you, and we definitely take different workshops and all at times to time. So we'll be notifying you. Be in touch of ours. I think it's high time for me to end this presentation now. And what I always say is that with Alexa, there are possibilities are endless. So keep learning and keep developing, and keep working on Alexa. And you can always be in touch with me. I'm already always there, available to solve any of your queries. This is my website. You can find any of my social media links over there. So I think that's my time, and I hope that you had a great session and a great learning. The video is always there on YouTube. You can always come back and have a look at it. And yes, that was my time. Thank you so much, guys. Over to you, Sumant.